What's up, everybody?
What's up, dudes? We're gonna have a special edition, which is French for edition, for you guys. That we're gonna be bringing out the old iPad. What's up, Lauren? How you doing? All right, let's see if this password still works.
iPad. Where's Harut?
This one's not working. Okay, great. Will this one work? Where am I? Try another way. Let's do that.
There, he's here.
All right, here we go. Don't worry, guys. This will be worth it. All right, here we go. Work. Thank you. Here we go. Link. And I think we should be. I just click the meeting.
Recording in progress.
Is it called Alexander's iPad by any chance? Thumbs up. Someone in the chat said iPad, French for iPad. Here we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We good? All right.
We're good.
Rock and roll. Okay, so now I want to share my screen here. All right, let's make sure I don't share the wrong shit. I know this is high-tech stuff. I know. Share, start broadcast. All right. All right, are we seeing this?
Yes.
Okay, we made it. Everyone, we did it. This has been a technological feat. You know, I'd like to thank my mother, my father, Steve Jobs, and the internet, which would be Al Gore, I guess. So anyways, now that we're here for the show, let's begin. So today is supposed to be a masterclass on pricing. And that's, a tall order because pricing, you can write books about it. But I'm going to keep this within the context of what should you price? And more specifically, how should you increase it? And then third, how do you know when it's right? Okay, so we'll go down to start. 2 is scale. 3 is vitalize. All right, so big picture. A lot of you guys are pricing too low, and that's because you're afraid for whatever reason, which is fine. Fear is okay, but being a pussy is not. So let's begin. So there's 2 big equations that you guys have to know, like the back of your hand when you're dealing with a membership business. All right. So I don't actually know what the real name for this is. I've always just called it the pie equation. No idea why I called it that, but it's just stuck at this point. All right. And so you've got your sales velocity, which is the number of sales that you make. Sorry, this is hypothetical max. I'll show the pie one in a second. All right. Times LTV equals your hypothetical max. So let's do an example. Let's say Harut sells 20 people per month. All right. 20 sales per month. And his LTV per customer is $100. And if you're like, how do I do 100? How do I know it's $100? This number for this business is price divided by churn. All right. So if your monthly price, let's say, is $10 and your churn is 0.10 or 10%, then that means that LTV is $100. I should probably do this slower. Okay. So we went over 2 equations. There's going to be more, but you guys want to know about price. Price is math. Like, this is how we do this. Like, it's not like some emotional feeling. Like, you can solve for price. And that's kind of the big, like, if there's a big takeaway from this whole thing, it's that I get asked, what should I price it at? And the answer is test, figure it out. Because if there's no like, oh, hold on, let me put my finger in the wind here. Feels like 17, right? Like, it's ridiculous. What I will say is that from a psychology perspective, you'll notice that there are these breaking points. So what I mean by that is, like, there's these bands of pricing that exist that you've probably noticed, right? Like, is $27 very different from 29? Not really, right? Now, does that same buyer buy at 29 and say no at 31? I don't know, right? But does that same buyer say no at 50? Probably. But all the people say yes at 50 probably say yes at 55, 59, sometimes even 65, right? But once you get into 70, it's like, ooh, that feels like another range, right? And so you'll notice that there are these bands of, like, conversion where there still will be a drop in conversion, but it won't fall off a cliff. It'll decrease, but you still make more money within the band. So the idea is, at least how I think about it, is that I want to reach the top end of the band before I get into the next band. And fundamentally, that's the whole idea behind having 9s and 7s. It's like you want to get as close to the edge, but not over it, right? But I think that the bands are bigger than 9s and 1s and 0s. I think consumers are pretty smart, right? And so it might be, here, $7 to $15. Now, we've seen that across Skool, that is the low, like the first real low band. And so if you're at 7, you'll probably make more money at 15. You'll have fewer sales, but you'll make more money. Now, if you get into like 18, doesn't 18 feel a lot different? Yeah, because 18 is way closer to 20, 22. It's a different tier. You guys following with me? Okay, so I'm going to put this to the side for a second. We'll put this over here.
Listen, if you host or own a Skool community yourself and wish there was a faster, easier, and more reliable way of getting more people to know about your group, then listen up, because now there is. In fact, this video is sponsored by a real Skool community called the YouTube JV Portal, where the #1 focus is to get more eyeballs on your Skool communities. This channel you're watching right now has partnered with the YouTube JV Portal, so if you're a Skool community owner and you want a sponsored slot just like this to promote promote your group on all of our upcoming content here on Skool Stories, then click the second link in the description and book a call today. And now, back to the video.
Okay, now let's go back. So right now, you can calculate what your hypothetical max is in the business by taking these two numbers. So I'm going to do this in order. All right, so these are the equations that you need to understand. All right, so I'll try to make this a little bit neater rather than how I just think about it. All right, so number one is your hypothetical max. You need to know how to calculate that. Number two is going to be your LTV, which you should be able to do very, very easily within Skool. Number three, what was the third one I wanted to show you? Oh yeah, the third one is going to be the conversion. So I'll get that in a second. Okay. So let's do one with real numbers. All right. So in the chat, somebody just put in how many sales you're making and what your LTV is and what your current revenue is. Current revenue. Just put it in. Three numbers. How many sales you're making a month, what your LTV per customer is, and what your current revenue is. Don't put one number in at a time. Put three together. Otherwise, it'll be impossible. Also, if you have zeros, I can tell you your hypothetical max is 0. We don't need to do the math on that. All right. So let's do. All right. If you guys don't have any, okay. Thank you. Okay. Hey, Addie, you're the first one to do it. So you're gonna get you get the medal. All right. So I'm gonna assume this is sales velocity is 30. Your LTV is $100. And so we're now, and this is why this is important. Currently, you're doing $1,000 a month. All right. Now here's what's cool. This is why I use this all the time as an investor. Is that if I know, Addie, that your business is doing $1,000 a month, but you're doing 30 sales a month and your LTV is $100 per month, then I know that you're actually going to keep growing. It'll actually look like this, like that. It's an asymptote. And that'll be $3,000. So Addie, if you continue this sales velocity of 30 customers a month and you keep your LTV at $100, you're at 1,000, but it will continue to climb until you're at 3,000. And so for me as an investor, if I see a company and I say, wow, now you could add zeros to this. Would this be a business that I'd want to buy? Hell yeah. Because I know it already has a built-in triple. I don't have to do anything. I just know it's going to triple right off the bat. Now, flip side, let's say that Addie is at, let's say you're at, we'll say the numbers are reversed. Let's say that your current, Addie, is $3,000. Okay, that's where you're currently at, but you're only selling 10 per month, right? Okay, now your current recurring revenue is $3,000 a month, but if you tell me you're selling 10 people and your LTV is 100, I know that what's going to happen is you're actually going to be at 3,000 and you're going to shrink to 1,000 because that equation right there, sales velocity times LTV, is basically the current state of the business at its height, basically when it's been netted out. So if you keep selling that percentage, it will keep growing and it'll slow down as it approaches that hypothetical, and then it'll plateau there. And so fundamentally, once you know what this equation is, you can see how far you can grow and what variables you need to change in order to grow the business. Now, you're like, well, how does pricing roll into this? I'll get there. All right. So everyone good with part one? Okay, cool. Wonderful. And if you're not, I'm going to move on anyway. Okay. World's best high school teacher. Okay. So LTV equals price divided by churn. Now, churn is equal to the number of people who left who were here last month. So it doesn't matter how many you sell this month. Sales has nothing to do with churn. If you start with 100 and you end the month with 110, but you lost 5 of your original 100, what's churn? 5%. Because the people that you added on top, the 15 that you added on top, don't matter for churn. All right. So you have to look at who was there last month and who's here this month. Andrew, do we have a Kirby? It's weird to call you Andrew. It feels like you're in trouble. Do we have a churn metric for them inside? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, you guys can still look at what last month's was. If you like, to be fair, lots of softwares don't have this right now, but we will give it to you soon. It's on the roadmap. Export the people you have at do an arbitrary time. Do like the first of the month. First month, export all the people you have. At the end of next month, so the first of next month, look at all the names and see who matches. And you can see. The other way you could do this is probably even easier than that. I'm just used to my old gym world. Is you just look at your customer count and then you look at number of churned customers and you can take that. That's an easier way to do it. I just like knowing who canceled personally, but that's the simple way. Okay. So if you have 100 customers to start the month and at the end of the month you had 13 customers who left, then churn is 13%. Okay. That's going to give you at least an estimate on this. All right. So if let's say Addie, you said your price was 30 or no, your LTV is 100. So he didn't tell me what it actually, Addie, are you here? Addie, respond to the comments if you're here. Okay. Yes. Great. So what's your price and what's your churn? Isn't this fun? It's like real-time problem solving. Very exciting. I know. This is what gets me going. Your price is $100 a month. Well, that's impossible. You said your LTV was $100. Motherfucker, did you not follow my instructions? All right. So fine. We're going to magically assume that the first one was not what you said. All right. So now your price price is $100. Fine. What's your churn?
Even
Churn,
roughly,
churn,
if you
churn.
don't know the specific.
If you don't, I'm just going to assume it's 10% because that'll make my life easier.
Hey, that's what she said. 10%.
Great. Perfect. Okay. So that means your LTV is actually $1,000. Wow. This becomes far more compelling. So by the way, that math problem that I showed you, if you keep your sales velocity at 30 and you do have $100 a month and 10% are leaving, this business will continue to grow up until you're at $30,000 a month. Pretty sweet. All right. So if you're at 1,000, then I have diamond hands on this one. I'm all about buying and hodling, or whatever the way that the kids say it these days. All right. Holding that stock because I'm like, this thing's going to 30x. All right. So for those of you guys right now who are following along, you should know this. You should know how many you're selling versus what your LTV is. So this number should go there. Price divided by churn.
This clip was taken inside of the Skool Games, which is literally free to join. So if you want to talk to AlexHormozi live every week, then click the link in the description and join right now.
54.1% of people who start a paid community in Skool make money. Yes, you heard that right.